Welcome back to the 2008 Aussie Millions Cash Game Invitational. We come to you from the beautiful Crown Melbourne. Play continuing, the blinds 400 and 800, the ante of $100, and the action on Chris Ferguson.
Well, Queen 6 offsuit. Chris is going to dump that quickly. Gus Hansen, a King-Jack. We haven't seen him in too many pots. This is one of his better hands, and he opens it for 2,800.
Action folding around now to Antonius. A pair of sixes.
Well, certainly Patrick, with a big stack, is not going to fold that hand, but probably not going to raise it. He's looking to flop a 6 here and get in cheap.
And he called. Now Masa Kagawa with ace-5 suited.
Well, certainly looks like he's counting out a call with a nice hand for deep stack game here. Ace-high flush draw.
And Tony G and ace-jack will also call. So 4 players will see the flop. Queen 9 deuce.
Check.
Couple of spades on the flop.
Another complete miss on a multi-way flop. 4 players, no pairs except for the pocket pair of Antonius, and we are checked around. Let's look at 4th Street.
On the turn, a 4 of clubs.
Check.
Well, looks like Tony G is going to take a shot at this pot, and he bets 7,000.
Gus Hansen will fold.
Yeah, he had a gut shot, lays it down. Antonius actually with the best hand, and he folds.
And Kagawa will call.
Wow, this is a very strange call, calling with a pure gut shot, and he misses.
That 6 would have given Patrick Antonius a set had he stayed in.
But meanwhile,
Check.
Tony G with the best hand, only ace high. Masa already checked, and Tony's deciding whether to bluff here, but this would be bluffing with the best hand. I actually like this bet, though. If he checks, he's kind of giving up.
16,000 was the bet from Tony G.
I can't see how Masa can call. I think Tony G's going to pick this up. He's going to think he bluffed it. But we all know that he was bluffing with the best hand. I like his fighting spirit, though, and yes, well, another balk, and Masa folds.
Service. Service, you call it, huh? And he stopped playing me heads up. That was when the gravy train stopped. He calls it service all the time.
So after the first several hands in this session, Patrick Antonius remains the big stack, a gate of 176,500 Australian dollars, about 160,000 US. 5 players still in the red, including, and perhaps surprisingly, this man right here, Phil Ivey.
Well, I'm not really surprised. Phil just hasn't picked up any hands, and he really hasn't gotten in the game. He's not losing too much, and certainly one good hand would get him back in the black.
Action now folding over to Patrick Antonius. Looking at a queen-jack offsuit. And he will raise to 5,600.
Phil Ivey with position on Patrick and a better hand. He's reaching for a call here. We'll see, he might raise. No, he just calls.
Masa Kagawa now.
Yeah, he's on the button with the suited hand. I would expect him to play. Most of these players have been calling with their suited hands, particularly if they can overcall and play a multi-way pot. He does call.
Now Tony G with a 4-3.
All I can say to our viewers is don't try this at home. I've seen a lot of these types of calls. You see he's reaching for a call here with 4 high. I would not recommend this type of action. We've been seeing it over and over again in this game so far.
Chris Ferguson folds, and now Gus Hansen.
A lot of very weak calls. And here's another call with a less than stellar hand.
So 5 players will go to the flop. Pair of queens at an 8. And Antonius has flopped trip queens.
Well, a huge flop for Antonius. Everyone is basically drawing dead to runners. And he wisely checks. Give everyone a chance to catch up a little bit here. A lot of cards could come up here that give him action. Or someone like Masa Kagawa could take a shot at this, and he is.
22,000. That gets Gus Hansen out. but I doubt it's going to get this guy out.
Well, I would expect Patrick to just call and continue the slow play. We'll have to see what he does here.
Just a call.
Quietly calling, not wanting to give anything away.
Bill Ivy folds. Now the turn. 7 of spades. Kagawa has caught a little pair.
Yeah, but certainly he's not going to think that that gave him the best hand. I'd expect him to put the brakes on right here and check. It's hard to put Patrick on any hand worse than an 8, certainly.
And a 5 of spades on the river.
Well, Patrick is thinking about whether to check or bet. I'd expect if he bets, Masa's going to just lay it down, and if he checks, I doubt if Masa's going to take a shot at it. He does bet 50,000.
And that calls for a swig of beer.
Well, unless he wants to make a very, very serious bluff. Oh, he does call. Wow. With just a 7, he must have put Patrick on either a 9-10, a Jack-10, or a Jack-9. Those are the only 3 hands that Patrick could possibly call with on the flop and be bluffing on the river. That's a very, very weak call. I'm very surprised.
Well, our amateur with his first real misstep, and the rich continue to get richer. We're coming back.